Welcome to another episode of the program. I'm Okpeyemi Owosheni. We'll start off with business news. The Federal Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, has announced that the federal government is engaging with leading aircraft leasing companies in France to facilitate the leasing of Airbus aircraft to Nigeria's private airline operators. The minister announced this on his official X account, disclosing that he led a delegation of senior government officials in Nigeria's aviation sector and representatives from private airlines to the Airbus headquarters in France during the first week of March. During the visit, they held high-level meetings with leading aircraft leasing companies, negotiating terms to make Airbus crafts available to Nigerian local airlines operators at very affordable rates. The aviation minister's post also mentioned that to secure the leases, the delegation offered solid assurances to the leasing companies about the safety of their assets in Nigeria. The Federal Inland Revenue Service (FIRS) has introduced the self-registration module on Tax Pro Max platform as a way towards improving the ease of doing business and matching customer-centric approach in the country. This was disclosed in a public notice signed by the Executive Chairman of FIRS, Zak Adedeji, where he encouraged businesses to take advantage of the new feature. According to the notice, every newly registered business entity can now complete their registration with the FIRS by following the prompt for self-registration. The new feature, according to the notice, will enable an efficient and transparent tax system that benefits both citizens and the government. The FIRS has been steadily introducing new reforms aimed at improving the ease of doing business, increasing revenue, and capturing more businesses under its platform. The service has set a 3-year target of increasing Nigeria's tax-to-GDP ratio from around 10% to 18%. We'll take a break here and be back with the latest happenings in the corporate world. Welcome back. Samsung Electronics Africa has announced a collaboration with New Home Distribution Africa Limited to assemble its electronics in Nigeria. This partnership aims to boost local production of the firm's products in the country, as well as reduce costs for Nigerians. This was disclosed during a recent media tour of the assembly plant in Lagos State. Ajayi David, the Director of Consumer Electronic Business West Africa, emphasized that Samsung is conscious of the quality and design of its product. According to David, the collaboration will help grow local electronics production by leveraging their manufacturing expertise and product knowledge. The alliance will cover a range of electronics, such as televisions, air conditioners, and various home appliances at the NHDA assembly plant in Lagos. Chika Nadozie, head of marketing Samsung Electronics West Africa, said the partnership will also reduce the cost of product, making it better for consumers to buy the product. According to him, at least 15% of the cost burden will be cut off to make the product more available to people. We'll take another break. When Money Matters returns, we'll be discussing the House of Rep calling for a review of the 2024 budget. Welcome back. The House of Representatives has called for a review of the 2024 budget projections owing to the freefall of the Naira in the past few months. Rising from plenary session on March 7, 2024, the lawmakers adopted a motion on the matter of public urgent importance titled "The Need to Evaluate the Implications of the Current Exchange Rate on the 2024 National Budget Implementation to ensure a balanced budget and increase in the standard of living of Nigerians." The motion, moved by Kafilat Ogbara, a lawmaker, brought the attention of the House to the fluctuating FX rates since the passage of the 28.7 trillion 2024 budget by the National Assembly and the subsequent assent by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Ogbara, who doubles as the House Committee Chairman on Women Affairs and Social Development, said the initial proposal of the federal government on the 2024 budget, based on a projected 800 naira to a dollar, was no longer feasible. The House is worried that the weighted average of the rates Nigerian foreign exchange market hovers at the average of $1 at 1,488 naira, Following the adoption of the motion, the House mandated its committees on national planning and economic development, appropriation and finance to carry out a comprehensive assessment of the implications of the foreign exchange on the 2024 Appropriation Act and determine the method of alignment of the current foreign exchange with the approved national budget. The committees were given 6 weeks to report back to the House for further legislative actions. Well, joining me to discuss this further is economist Mukhtar Mohammed. Thank you for joining me on the program, Mr. Mohammed. Now, the House of Representatives has called for a review of the budget. In your opinion, is reviewing the 2024 budget projections in light of the Naira devaluation the right step to take, considering the current economic situation of the country?
Well, it depends. I think that's the right step to take. That means what you budget for, maybe you don't have enough for provision of those things. The way things are going, price of goods and services are going high these days. So you can't see at that time, there's a lot of works maybe on construction of roads, housing. Most of those prices would have gone up. So it could be a good thing for them to do to review the budget to look at the price. In the budget, the official exchange rate was 800 naira for a dollar, and again now even the official exchange is about 1,500. So that means we are seeing over 90% increase. So I think it could be the right thing to do, especially for those projects that might be affected by this price variation in terms of exchange rate volatility.
Okay, so what are the potential consequences of the current Naira devaluation on the current country's fiscal policies and budget projections?
Well, it's huge. Like I said, that means most of the cost of all these goods have gone up. If you are budgeting at 800 and now you are doing 1,500, that's about 90% increment. Again, the physical side, that means on their own side, a lot of those projects would have gone up by 90%. Paying your foreign debt also would have gone up by 90%. Remember that debt services is also part of what they are dealing with. So all these also have increased because of the revaluation of the Naira. Housing project, power projects, all projects have increased by 90%. So there's a big consequence on that. In the monetary side, businesses, inflation has gone up to almost 30%. So businesses now have to borrow more. So that means cost of production also has gone up. And so it's just a snowball effect because of the exchange rate volatility that has happened. Cost of energy also have gone up. You could see that as of this moment now, we're beginning to hear that the federal government is even still paying subsidy on petroleum products. So looking at all this, I think it calls for really great concern.
Okay, so the House is worried that with the distortionary impact of the foreign exchange regime, the 2024 Appropriation Act will be difficult to implement due to foreign exchange volatility. Now, do you think their worries are valid, or do you think there is a way they can work things around?
I think their worries is very valid. Very, very valid. I think they are thinking out of the box than the usual National Assembly. But even if we have some concerns about what they are talking and how they are going about it, we may have some concerns. But you cannot fear that the performance level of this budget is going to be negatively impacted by this FX volatility. Like I said, you have an exchange rate of 800 in the budget, and now you are doing an exchange rate of 1,500. That's officially. We are not even talking about parallel market. And so debt servicings have gone up. Any foreign obligation that has to do with foreign loans or foreign payment has gone up. So definitely, I think there is room for, I totally agree for them that with them, if you don't do a budget revaluation, then we could have a situation whereby most of these projects will not even be implemented. Um, uh, you look at oil revenue bar was based on 1.5. OPEC is saying that we can only do 1.2. So we have a shortfall of 300,000. Provision was not made for subsidy, like I said. They said if we are not paying subsidy, petroleum should be selling for about 1,000 naira. So they are doing subsidy of almost 400 naira per liter. After today, there was a report that come out that the subsidy has even gone to about 3.6 trillion. And also, we still have subsidy on electricity payment. So a lot is going on. I don't think the government have the might to be able to handle it, especially with the exchange rate volatility. So I totally agree with what they're saying, that we might just have to reevaluate that budget.
Well, like you said, there's truly a lot that needs to be addressed when it comes to the budget. Now, are there any measures or strategies that the government can implement to mitigate the effects of Naira devaluation on the economy?
I think they have to look at their projects. I think that's what they need to do. They need to look at a project that will have positive impact on Nigeria. They begin to look at how those projects will be those projects that they should concentrate on to work on, and then other project might be just pushed to another time, or maybe put to the next budget year where we have stability. Also, government also need to cut costs in terms of their expenditure also, because that means that government also will need to take a bite of their own revenue that they don't even have. So expenditure also have to come down in the area of government. So that's one big area. Governors have to come down, especially now that the president have taken the bull by the horn to implement the unnecessary report, even if I have my own thinking that if you have to implement the report, you don't need a white paper, you don't need a black paper, you don't need to set up another committee for the next 3 months. All these are part of politicking that are going on behind the scenes. So I think one thing the government need to look at, they need to look at projects that are people value, that will add value to the people and implement that project. And secondly, they have to look at the cost of governance. And the president have said he have led he led the bull by the horn. The number of ministers that will travel with him have come down, but both for the VP also. But again, when the same president is saying it, and then the next time he's going to Qatar and his two children are on the governor or on the presidential aspirant. So it means that you're talking with two sides of the mouth. So one thing they need to do is to bring down the cost of governance.
Okay, so what are some potential long-term solutions to address the root causes of Naira devaluation and ensure a more stable currency in Nigeria?
Well, we've been saying this all this while, and it seems to it's becoming like a broken record.
Okay.
And you need to diversify, you need to earn more FX, you need to build infrastructure, you need to attract foreign direct investors. It's same of saying. You see, that's not that government. When we talk about diversification, the other time you see government talk about diversification is when their revenue is affected. Immediately, everything stability comes in. You don't see them talk about diversification. So one of the things they need to do, they need to pay serious emphasis on diversification. I can say they should do that. They should look at diversifying economy and not just looking at agriculture. Like if we want to do all the whole agriculture, we need to look at our own as a nation, what we call our competitive advantage also, and begin to see how we can use that to begin to earn FX into our economy, or that's in the area of non-agricultural product. We need to also look at the oil sector insecurity. They need to fight so that we can be able to meet our OPEC quota. They need to come also with product that will attract foreign direct investors, foreign portfolio investors, and also Nigeria in the diaspora. They need to come up with all this. And now they are doing that. Foreign investors are coming because of the high yield in terms of in the fixed income space. We will see that also have an effect on the stock market very soon when these investors will start coming in numbers, especially now that everybody knows that the naira is undervalued, so they want to come in when it's undervalued before it gets to the real value. I mean, they are coming in high, but they are sure that they will exit in low. So those are part of the measure that government need to create stability in that FX market, and they have to do it fast. And again, the last one that I think government should do is to be able to build infrastructure, especially in the area of power, so that the majority of what we import will be able to provide it for ourselves here. Once we do that, we cut FX, almost 70% FX that goes out of this country. And then we only have 30%, which we have to deal with maybe some raw materials, and then people traveling out. And so government know what to do, but again, do they have the political will, and do they have the strategy to begin to implement those things?
Government knows what to do. Now, Mr. Mohammed, you would agree with me that things are quite challenging in the country at the moment. Then how can ordinary citizens and businesses navigate the challenges posed by Naira devaluation and safeguard their financial interests?
Oh, yeah. I think number one, businesses or individuals need to begin to learn the act of budgeting. It's
Budgeting.
all the key. So you just have to start learning the art of budgeting. You only look at your needs at this time and then begin to eliminate your wants. Everything must be done strictly on what is available. and also on a reduced level, because again, your earning capability have not increased, but your purchasing power has gone low. So you need to begin to make sure that everything is budgeted for, especially in the area of needs. There are some basic needs that you need to budget for. You need to budget for your house rent. You need, if you are paying mortgage, you need to budget for your mortgage payment, school fees if your children are in school, especially when they're in private school, because we know about 90% of Nigerian children goes to private schools. So you need to budget for school fees. Also you need to budget for clothing. And so all these things are basic necessity that you need to budget for. Then every other one that comes about at this time is a want. So you need to be eliminating a lot of wants. If you have to go to a place, high cost of energy, you need to look at, do I have to go there or do I not have to go there? How can I get whatever I want? And small businesses, what they've done also to reduce costs on their customers, to increase their customers' purchasing power, is for you to reach them through a digital platform. And these things are delivered at the doorstep of your house without you going out and then incurring costs in terms of energy also. Businesses, again, they need to cut costs and also be able to reduce their profit margin if they want to still be in business. They need to reduce their profit margin because the earning capability of most Nigerians is no more there. So a situation where before somebody would buy 2 products, you will now buy 1. So you need to begin to look at your turnover via the little gain that you have. That's the only way you can stay afloat. But the key is budgeting. Then for entrepreneurs, for businesses, is begin to reduce your operational costs and begin to reduce your cost of your goods through reduction in your profit margin. And also, when you talk about operational costs, you begin to look at, unfortunately, that right sizing. Then again, right sizing, you could also begin to let people work from home rather than coming to the office. All those are part of measure you use to reduce your operational costs and also have a better bottom line.
True, like you said, with the current economic situation in the country, budgeting is a very important skill that everyone needs to learn, and the government also needs to do better. Thank Economist Mukhtar Mohammed. Thank you for lending your thoughts on the program.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
That's all we have on this episode of the program. Many thanks for watching. I'm Okpeyemi Owosheni. See you next time.